Now, the average American spends $76.7 a month on a new car. 767, not for Mercedes or loaded pickup trucks. That is the national average for everything on the road. What makes landing more difficult? A typical new car in this country is now priced above $50,000. That means $50,000 has become Toyota's current price. The car salesman sees you doing math in your head, laughs. If you give up the magic thread, why not just rent it out and pay less? In theory, he is right. That is the trap. I'll walk you through math, dealers, and pray you never run. Because, once you see the numbers, it is the same feeling to never rent again. Let's be consistent on some important things. Because it is not like your father's 1995 problem. The numbers have completely changed. Experian June 2025 data show that the average monthly loan payment is $68.2. Although the average rent is £6,509, the difference is $23. Back in 2022, the same difference appeared at $55. That means the click sign that renting a home can save you a lot of money each month is quietly disappearing. The era of cheap leasing as an improvisation is largely over. Cox Motor confirmed in September 2025 that the average transaction price of new cars exceeded $50,000 for the first time in history. Bank rates now track new car loan rates of about 7% on 60-month bills. Super preferential borrowers can be pulled down to 4.6.6. Subprime borrowers repay between 13 and 19%. This is the most expensive car market ever in the United States. This means that the rent and purchase decision is no longer an atmosphere. Now it is math, and most people are completely wrong. This is the strategy book given to you by the dealer. They flipped the conversation. They stopped talking about prices and started talking only about payments. Payments are dopamine numbers. It is right for your budget app. This is a variable they can stretch and squeeze until it looks irresistible. Look at how this mechanism works. The rent does not include the car itself. It covers most of the value lost while the vehicle is moving, plus a fee called the money factor. That is basically the interest in fake beards. The trick is to multiply the currency coefficient by 2400 to see the real AP. This is a conversion that no dealer on earth would voluntarily make. Why lease payments are lower than loan payments? Because you only pay for the year when the car depreciates fastest. Sales of new cars fell 16% in the first year, according to Kelley Blue Book, another 12% the next year. By the time you're in 5th grade, the $50,000 machine has fallen to about $22,000. That means more than half its value has evaporated. Guess who is going to pay for the lease losses? And every month, in effect, you rent the steepest part of the depreciation curve and return the keys when the car finally stops depreciating. Sit down. You paid the hardest price. And then you left with nothing. No equity, no value transaction, no assets. Just a pile of receipts and a polite handshake from the dealer. This is not a deal. It is a monthly rent that looks rich. Now, let's pull the camera back. Because it is part of the real cruelty. Consumer Reports listed these data in its 2026 analysis and reached irrefutable conclusions. 2 back-to-back 3-year leases, compared with a loan to buy the same car and keep it for 6 years, mean buyers will forgo thousands of dollars in advance. Their words. Leases tend to be more expensive than equivalent loans, because you buy a car at the fastest decline in value. That is not what I'm talking about. It is directly from Consumer Reports. When you look at how long Americans actually keep their cars now, average 12 to 8 years. The index hit a record high, according to S&P's Global Liquidity Report 2025. Sure. Biba. Work this out with me. Financing a $50,000 car for 6 years, then driving it free for 6 more years, making 72 monthly payments over 12 years. The lessor signed 4 back-to-back 3-year contracts and made 144 payments, double the original amount. At the end of the 12th year, the buyer owned tangible assets. The landlord has a folder for cancelling checks. This is a group of glossy personal finance people who refuse to speak up, so I will. For most middle-class Americans, leasing is like a machine that destroys wealth. Not because it is a hoax, but because leasing is a perfectly legal product. But because it locks you into permanent monthly payments for the exact year, you should be interested in anything else. A car, an index fund, a house, any combination. Every dollar injected into the lease is a dollar, and it will never compound interest for you, not once. Now things are actually getting worse, because the sticker on the lease pays for the floor, not the ceiling. Mileage was the first ambush. Most leases limit you to driving 10, 12, or 15,000 miles a year. According to the Federal Highway Administration, Americans actually drive 1.3, 4.76 miles a year. That means the standard 12,000-mile lease pushes you to the limit, even before you start. Beyond that limit, dealers charge 15 to 30 cents a mile, as some contracts climbed to 50 cents. So running 3,000 more miles a year means writing an unexpected check for about $2,000 when the lease expires. Wear and tear is the next ambush. The clank of Costco parking, your treat. Rashes on rims, on you. Your child has a juice box in the back seat, and it is on you too. Because dealers check returned vehicles, like forensic crime scenes. Early termination quickly becomes ugly. Unemployment, having children, the nation. If you decide in 6 months to hate the car, that is okay. The Federal Reserve's own consumer guide provides an example of early lease violations that cost drivers $2,000 on top of the remaining payments. Part of the early termination bill falls into the full remaining cost of the entire lease, and all leases expire immediately. Insurance and gap insurance worked, because the lessor requires full insurance. Many of them need top-notch insurance. That is another $30 to $50 a month, and most people forget to compare. Each line of items adds up to a hastily tarnished, lower monthly payment. It is time to be fair, because I'm not standing in front of you and claiming that renting is always the wrong thing to do. No, there are 3 specific situations where math is really good for you. Scenario 1 belongs to a business owner who can legally cancel a lease. When the lease payment meets the deductible conditions of operating expenses, after-tax costs change the equation. The right thing to do is talk to the real CPA. Not my brother-in-law, watching YouTube videos. Scenario 2 works if you really want to buy a new car every 2 or 3 years and change it anyway. Suppose you're honest with yourself. Leasing saves you the hassle of selling, depreciating assets 4 times in a decade. What you really buy is convenience. Just open your eyes and go in. Scenario 3 covers electric cars, but with huge asterisks. As of the 30th of September 2025, there are loopholes in the federal $7,500 electric vehicle tax credit, which imposes strict requirements on buyers. Leasing companies can basically apply for a commercial version of the same credit on any electric car and pass the savings directly to tenants. This arrangement makes renting a car nearly 2 years cheaper than buying one. The bug is dead now. Expires the 30th of September 2025 and disappears entirely. Electric cars still depreciate faster than gasoline cars. Jaguar Space's market value has shrunk by 7.2% in 5 years. Tesla models has lost 6.5%. Therefore, the lease still transfers the residual value risk to the lessor, turning electric car rentals into huge, easy federal subsidies. Such incentives are no longer on the table. Here are the rules I want you to follow. This video, because Consumer Reports compress it into one sentence, this may be the cleanest decision rule of all personal finance. If you plan to keep your car for 6 years or more, buying a car is almost always the winning option. 6 years later, it is an open line. Driving to the ground is your style. Buy it. Log more than 12,000 miles a year. Buy it. Accumulate wealth and understand that paying once a month is buying $1 in an index fund without compound interest. To be honest, buying second-hand, because a 2-year certified used car absorbs the worst part of the depreciation curve. You hit the first host, which is the real flexibility. Leasing won't win a place in your decision until you do a full calculation. Not dealer math, your math. And you've decided that convenience is indeed a reason to pay a premium. This is a valid choice, but it should not be the default. It is all about making payments feel small. Your job is to make sure your net worth doesn't shrink to match it. If the video changes your mind about the next car, click the subscribe button. I scrutinize the numbers every week. No slack, no sponsorships, just real math. In the comments below, let me know that. Do you buy as a team, rent as a team, or rent as a team? I kept my negative 2014 Camry until the wheel fell off, because I want to hear. See you next time.